So welcome everybody to another Facebook Live. I'm Sandra Grant and I have the honour of presenting with me today Heather Ann Fink. Heather is a co-author on the book, Your True Power, The Key to Your Amazing Life. And she is also a life transformed advanced coach, as I am. So that's how we met, and we've continued our collaboration since then with the book. And the topic today is how to be the leader you're meant to be in your relationship. So not just any old leader, the leader in your relationship. And I will just read a little bit about Heather, because I haven't memorized it. So Heather specializes in mentoring people who love deeply but struggle with repeating painful patterns in their intimate relationships so they can experience the joyful and nourishing intimacy and connections they desire. Now, isn't that enough to make you want to hire her straight away? And she's she's had the experience herself of dealing with painful patterns, painful relationships. So she's now putting all of her learning, all of her experience into practice and creating step-by-step signature programs for her clients so that they too can get out of the rut they're in, the pattern, the repeating painful patterns that started off in trauma, in their intimate relationships, and so that they can step into a life that is all of it pleasurable and deeply satisfying. Well, there's mine. Would you like to, so welcome Heather, and would you like to expand and say anything more on that?
That's awesome. I love hearing that. It's so nice. I think everybody loves to be introduced like that. It's so fun.
I know, that's great. And
yeah,
always fun to have you with your smiling, joyful face. So thank you. So
thank you.
Anything else you would like to add to your bio or tell us about a little bit more about yourself?
I guess I would say that the relationships that I've experienced for the majority of my life were pretty painful, but that I thought that that was how relationships went. I didn't really perceive them as painful.
Yes.
Yeah, until I realized how much pain I was in. Which essentially meant, dipping into feelings of the day that I recognized I was depressed is because my mother-in-law told me. She's like, I think you're depressed. I'm like, okay, I'll look into that. And then I looked over my life really with that lens of depression and realized not too long after that I realized I had pretty much always been depressed. Yeah.
And I think the thing is that what we experience is normal for us, and so we don't know any different. We've got no basis of comparison because we can't feel what someone else is feeling.
Yeah,
it's the way we've known.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And and then like the awareness grew and grew, and the more I spoke about how I was feeling and it was mirrored, and I recognized I wasn't happy, and that was a new concept, that I wasn't happy and that it could be different. And then I kept expanding in what I would rather have until one day, as I write about in my chapter, is that I made a choice for myself to be happy, and I didn't realize that I just kind of walked right off a cliff. But there was no turning back, and it was meant to be, and it started a whole journey that I write about in the chapter. Yeah.
That's great.
What I want to share about is the reason that I chose the topic that I did, because So my chapter title is I Am the Answer. And that is like my journey to really get that, I actually, and we all actually get to look inside for guidance, that we have it innately. But I definitely didn't grow up thinking that, or being directed inwards for inquiry and guidance.
Yeah.
And so when I say be the leader in your relationships, be the leader you're meant to be in your relationships, what I'm pointing to is that inner leader that we all have. And it's not about being extroverted or being in charge or in control or domineering,
Right.
taking that kind of charge, but it's really taking the opportunity that we have being embodied on the planet, that we have the opportunity to listen to our own internal guidance of our inner self that's here. And so that's the leader that I'm pointing to when I say that. What's that?
So it's not domination then, it's tuning into your own intuition, your own guidance.
Our own guidance, yeah. And this own wisdom and clarity and intuition that we have, that is like our own GPS, for like a modern term, but then the timeless term is our soul, right? That we have this soul's guidance within us. We all have it, and it's so amazing. It's such a huge gift that, wow, it's so amazing. And for me, I just am so grateful to be able to finally have recognized that this is available, and that I get to be and have this and play with this aspect of who I am, because it's such a relief and it's so much more fun, like I said, than what I had been used to my whole life, which really was external, looking outside of myself for guidance, for answers, for validation, of course, and just this whole orientation to the outside, to be constantly aware of the outside and trying to figure it out. And it was very stressful and not fun. And I'm a naturally joyous person.
Yes, I've noticed.
But but it's like I was utilizing that to try to obtain, right? So it wasn't for me. I didn't get to just experience it and enjoy it just because it was all focused in this direction of obtaining validation, love, being seen, being understood, all of that. So looking to everyone else to be the leader. And then what happened, right, is I was constantly disappointed because what I wanted, nobody was showing up to mirror back or reflect, not in the way that I wanted it.
Yeah.
And so then I had to just give up essentially over and over and over on what it is I really wanted.
Yeah.
I just had to say, well, that's not happening. Okay, well, that's not happening. Well, it's not happening here. Okay. And then, right, we do that so much that it becomes an automatic. And so, yeah, so looking to others for leadership means that essentially we have to end up giving up our dreams and being disappointed. And then, of course, that's where the depression came in.
And it's interesting that you had to look to someone else to tell you that you were depressed as well.
Exactly, right. Very good point. Totally. Yeah, I was really just bent on that whole, every ounce of me was focused in on getting what I needed out there. Like
Yeah.
every bit of my strength and determination and creativity and will, everything was just, yeah.
And let's take a deep breath on that one. Just acknowledging the pain and the journey that you went through and the struggle and the futile nature of it. Didn't matter how hard you tried, how many different ways you did it, it wasn't happening. And you still didn't feel loved and validated and seen and all those other things.
Nope.
Dear. So I know that you are a teacher and a coach and a mentor. I'm wondering, do you have some practical steps from your learning and experience that you can help guide the listeners today?
Yeah, I'm wondering how much time, 6:15. I was thinking, so we'll see where this goes. So I just have invitation. It's not so much of a process, because we do that a lot in our work, and I do that a lot in my work, is offering and guiding people through processes to really drop in and receive this wisdom. Yeah. Today, I feel like what I want to share in the invitation is to invite people to just slow down. Slowing down allows us to notice more of what's in the moment. Yeah. And that's definitely something that in my life, in order to, I just had a very fast-paced life, and it was really modeled around me to stay busy. Mm-hmm. And what I recognize now, looking back, is that it was an effort to be distracted. Yes. From the pain. So the invitation that I'm welcoming is to slow down and notice more in the moment. Mm-hmm. And when that happens, then the capacity is there to actually notice where our urges are actually presenting themselves, because this is that internal guidance that it doesn't actually ever stop. Uh-huh. It's always speaking to us. But if we're busy and ignoring, then it's really hard to hear it. Yeah. And so in slowing down and being more able to notice what's happening in the moment, there are those moments where your inner guidance is speaking to you, and you can hear it, you can feel it. And so much for me, it's in the body. It's so much of a clenching or or even the breath, right? Holding the breath. Yes. Clenching the solar plexus, clenching your stomach, being tense in your neck, clenching your jaw. So there's all these ways that our body is kind of reflecting that there's that there's more that wants to come through. So my invitation is to slow down and actually honor that, and be able to practice noticing those subtle cues in the body. There's subtle cues in things that we think repeatedly over and over and over, which is so often a negative self-talk, a negative belief, a negative, I recall like just so much repression. Yeah. Don't say that. Is that the right thing to say? Is that okay to say? Oh, I said that. How do they feel about it? So much vigilance. to self-expression. So listening to the urges and then practicing honoring them, just even to hear them right in the beginning, just like, oh, I noticed that I'm totally guarded whenever I'm around this person. Interesting. Okay. You know, there's so much of that in every moment. So just inviting people to pause, slow down, and listen. It's such a huge thing. And it's a constant practice, not one that has to be hard, but absolutely an honoring of this internal guidance and this wisdom that we have innately. And then I wanted to bring in some practical perspective, right? So considering and even asking yourself, like, how often is it that I actually look outside of myself for answers? How often do I do that? And looking for others to lead, also thinking that others outside of you will know better. How often is it that I'm actually looking to others because I think they know better than me? Right. And also how many times, how much of your time, what percentage of your time with others are you explaining yourself to others, explaining why you chose something, that you chose something, that you want it, why you want it, and trying to justify that? Because these are all ways that we're ejecting from our own guidance and wisdom rather than honoring it's all already here, it's all happening all the time, ready for us just to welcome what might be coming through. And but it all simply starts with being willing to slow down and just be open to noticing in the moment.
So notice what you notice.
Notice what you notice.
Yeah.
Totally. Because it's this unfolding journey, right?
Yes.
That's always changing, and in terms of an adventure, really. Today I was in a setting earlier with a spiritual group that I'm a part of, and we were meditating, and it came in actually in that moment that this inner self, there was this awareness that I was having that it's sort of like, this analogy is like the ice cream truck. In Australia, I'm sure it happens in Australia too, but when you're little and the ice cream, there's like an ice cream truck that comes through town and they have their music playing and all the kids are like, it's the ice cream man, right? And I was feeling this analogy of our inner self being that like ice cream truck, and that music that's like floating around really lightly in the neighborhood, right, in your awareness. And when you hear it, it's exciting. You're like, oh, it's exciting, right? And you're like, oh, wow, like possibility, creativity, pleasure, desire, what you want, what your soul's telling you, like, hey, what about this, right? And it's just so cool, because I remember throughout my life when I was really trying to contain my expression and really trying to control myself and not having that much fun, then moments would pop in like that, right? Like flashes of this bigger self that we are. And I remember wanting it so much, but really not believing it was possible. But every time it came in, it was like that. Every time it came in, it was like that flicker of excitement and possibility. And so, yeah, I wanted to share that because I felt like it was, what did you say?
It's a great analogy.
Yeah. So, yeah. What else?
What else? Um, okay, so excuse me. What particular gifts and talents are you bringing through in working with people and working on relationships and things like that?
I feel like my unique like gift is that I honestly do see the love in everybody.
Right.
I feel the love in everyone. And that's why I had to shut down so much when I was little, because I was so aware of it. But I am brought to tears often by people that I just observing people and seeing the the love, the magic, the uniqueness in everyone. And sometimes there's tears because I feel like people don't really see it themselves and they don't feel it themselves, and it's right there for them and for all of us to experience as well.
Yeah.
To experience them, right?
Uh-huh.
And sometimes it's just when I see people shining so brightly, right, then the tears. And so for me, it's like even during times of pain and struggle that others are in or they're facing, I feel like it's so easy for me to actually see and feel and know and connect right into the magic that they are and the love that they are, and to see their uniqueness. And for me, right, one of the things that really drives me and this vision for me, right, is that I really desire to support and facilitate people to essentially facilitate themselves back to this love that they are, back to this magic, back to this unique contribution that we're all here to just be uniquely in our own essence, and to bring that to our experience of each other, and to be in that huge field of possibility, free from these constraints of the past trauma, the pain, the beliefs that we have about how things can be and how they can't be. There's such a bigger field beyond that, and I just want to play with everybody in it and like party and be there with everyone. So I see that, I feel it, and I see the vision, and I know that it's possible, and that it gets to be more than we even know that we can even conceptualize, because it's beyond what we've experienced so far, on the planet. And so
and finally, we're not even aware that there is this other possibility, because we're so in it, in whatever that life is at the moment, that we can't conceive of anything beyond our current reality.
No, because if we're trying, and even if we're trying, we can only, we're trying to imagine from a place that's still in such limitation. We're trying to like open our creativity, but not really, because we're just using like all the old stuff. We're like, our brain is just repeating everything it already knows. And so we just keep operating on what we already know, but there's so much beyond what we already have experienced, we already know. Right. And that, right. I know you know this, so.
Yes, well, I've shared the journey a little bit, so.
Right, and that we've been playing in this together, and that's what we do together, and yeah, it's beautiful, so fun.
And what I've noticed in that process is that we all have unique stories, but they're all similar in the fact that the trauma started, we didn't know anything different. Maybe the parents were doing the best that they could, but we basically didn't feel safe, didn't feel loved, didn't feel seen, heard, supported, whatever it was. And we all felt different. We didn't belong.
Yeah, exactly.
So the elements, it's like the elements of the story are similar. It just plays out with different characters and different scenarios.
I think that's the other part too, Sandy, is that the part for me is like seeing people when they feel like they don't belong. And that's what kind of hurts my heart a little bit, because I know that well, and we all belong. It's like the biggest lie. It's such a lie. It's a lie that's so harmful. And yeah, but so you were saying that it's like we all are on the same huge journey, right? We're all on the same journey together, and that it looks different because our souls are different. We have our own soul's essence, and that's the uniqueness, but the larger journey isn't personal. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm wondering, what is the one message that you would like to give our listeners today? What's the key thing that you want them to take home from the discussion?
Well, since our book, right, is Your True Power, and we wrote all about our own true power, it's like just really what I would love for everyone to take home is that we already are home. That we get to inhabit our soul. We get to live as if that's what's happening, because that's what's happening. We get to live as if we are already fully equipped with our own guidance system, because we are. And that when we can tap this inner essence and this inner wisdom, that this is our true power.
Yeah.
That we're so magical beyond what we could even conceptualize. And so we have it, we are it, we are the answer, we are already home. And it's so reassuring, so beautiful. And yeah, that is true. That is true. Yeah, that is true.
And I think we should talk a little bit about the book, a little bit more about the book. So just to recap, it's called Your True Power, The Key to Your Amazing Life. It's available for $1 US in the ebook form. And for your $1, you not only get 14 true transformational stories, but you also get a bonus that each author has contributed. You get free entry into a raffle for $1,000 US. The money that we are getting from sales is all going to charity. And it's an amazing, amazing opportunity. We really want to spread the message. And that's why we're not taking the proceeds back. We want support from others to help get our message out there, not from an ego point of view, not from, oh, aren't I great, I'm an author, but just because we have been through the journey, we know the transformation that's possible. And we really, really want that for other people, because it hurts our heart when we see other people who've been in the victim role or are still in victim role in whatever form that takes. And we know there's another way. So would you like to mention anything additional on that?
Yeah, the bonuses are so fun. So some of them have already happened, and some of them are just still coming up, and you can access them all on the link when you sign up for the book. And yeah, what I also like to mention is I'm offering personally that if anyone who purchases the book and then emails me the order number, that I will gift you a complimentary session with me to dive into basically assessing your I'm calling it a desired relationships assessment, where essentially we're going to get together and really I'll guide you through a process, and we'll play with what it is you most deeply desire really for your relationships, and then start you on a path of how to start getting them.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so my email, right? What did you say?
We'll put that link in the notes that go with the.
Great.
But you can say it now as well in case someone can't find that.
My email is HeatherAnn, ANN, and then FINK @gmail.com. HeatherAnnFink @gmail.com.
Great.
Yeah.
And anything else? Any parting words that you would like to add? Something that
I just want to invite everybody to be part of the journey with us. It's so fun.
yes,
It's so fun. And our hearts are all over this thing. Like, that's why we're doing this. As Sandy, as you're saying, Sandy, it's like, we know that there's so much more that's possible, and we just want to share it and invite more people into the possibility, and to know that deep transformation like this is absolutely possible. We want it to be like, you know, so common that people are, oh, of course you can get beyond that. Oh, no problem. Yeah, we do it all the time, because we do it all the time. So just come play with us. It's really fun. It's
and
amazing.
Start with the book, because the co-authors have been privileged to read the advanced copy, mainly because we've got to check for typos and things, but at the same time we get to read all the other stories. And my mouth was just open. It was like, wow, how could you go through that? Like, you look at the co-authors today and you just think, I never would have guessed that. You know, like, you're so joyful. How could you have been whatever? And
Yep.
how could you have even survived that? Like, it's a wonder you're not dead, literally.
Yep. Exactly. Yep.
So thank you so much for being on.
Thank you, Sandy.
I'm just going to mention the book link is yourtruepowerbook.com. That's yourtruepowerbook.com. Your True Power Book is one word, .com. And that will take you to where you can buy the book for $1, sign up for the raffle, sign up for the bonuses, know that your money is going to charity, and know that this is a book. You don't have to be female to read it. Even my brother bought it. So, you know, he's not necessarily into women's stories, if you like, but he could see the value. And some of my other male friends as well. It's like, wow, I want to read about that. That sounds amazing. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. Thank you for offering that free relationship discovery session at HeatherAnnFink@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Yes.
You got it.
You got it.
You got it.
And thank you to everyone who's watching and listening. And we wish you an amazing life.
Yeah.
Thank you and bye.
Bye, Sandy.